Hi everyone, it is Dani. Welcome to this updated video. I do hope you're doing really fantastic today. It is Sunday the 19th of April and we are now 43 days out from the official start of the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season. So time is winding down. And I must say there isn't any major updates in regards to the hurricane season, but I will be talking about some statistics of what we tend to notice throughout that time period, and even just before and just after the hurricane season officially uh, begins and ends respectively. So we'll be looking mostly at the short-term forecast because a frontal system is exiting the states. We can see all of this action associated with it extending from the Gulf states all the way up through the eastern sections of the US. Even going to Canada, that system is up there as well. So it's been active and we'll be talking about that. And as that front moves out, we will be getting some impacts here in the Caribbean. You remember the cooler weather that we love? Well, most of us, I should say. Well, we'll get some of that. It's not going to be anything major, especially in comparison to what we experienced earlier this year, especially in February. But yeah, nonetheless, we'll be going into the details. But this is a wide view here of the North Atlantic Basin. Not as active in the Caribbean as we can see. We're not seeing a bunch of color, but some places are getting some rain and even thunderstorms. And then towards northern South America, seeing a little surge in action here associated with something called the Intertropical Convergence Zone. And what is that? Well, it's an area where the trade winds of the north and south meet, and at times it gets pretty active, which is a main source of rainfall for sections of South America and other parts of the globe. But we're focusing on the Western Hemisphere here. So yeah, let's go into more detail. As we zoom into the Caribbean, this is what our imagery, the satellite imagery is looking like this afternoon. So as I mentioned, we've got some thunderstorms popping up. We can see that happening in the far western section and also the far east sections of Cuba. Going towards the southern parishes of Jamaica, we've definitely got some action here. As we head towards Hispaniola, it's a similar story. Haiti and a few spots in the Dominican Republic, going towards western Puerto Rico. But aside from the northern islands, we're not seeing any other instances of thunderstorms in the Caribbean itself. However, we've had some low-level clouds moving through the Lesser Antilles, and that's helping to bring about some showers. Nothing crazy, but nonetheless, rainfall is very much important for everyday usage. So I welcome it personally at any time. And as we head towards other areas such as the ABC Islands and even the Cayman Islands, for the most part, it's been pretty dry and sunny, maybe a little bit windy. And we also see this little surge in moisture at a closer view for the Guyana. So it's going to be pretty active there. And with a plethora of rain, we know that the flood threat is always going to be ticking up a bit. So we'll look at that rainfall forecast momentarily. But I want to take you to this graphic here. Let's see. There we go. So we have got the surface chart, and this is a forecast. And this is for the next 3 days or 72 hours. Now this symbol right here, this line with these triangles, that is a symbol for a cold front. So that same frontal system that we observed earlier on the satellite imagery is going to be moving down, and it's going to, the boundary is expected to move through sections of the northern Caribbean. And with that, cooler air follows the boundary. So the winds are likely going to be kicking up a bit, and they'll be quite cool. I mean, for some of us, we've already been observing it where most evenings when it's windy, it's also quite cool. And even in the early morning hours just before sunrise, very cool, very refreshing to be outside because of that. So yeah, we're definitely going to get that being a little bit more enhanced as we progress into the next couple of days. And as I mentioned that, let's go to the temperature anomaly forecast. So just to give you a basic understanding in case you're not familiar with this graphic, it is showing how much the temperature is varying from what is normal. So I'm going to bring it back right here to today on the 19th of April. As I mentioned, the cooler air, it follows the frontal boundary. So the boundary is just here, just around this area is where it is, because you see the contrast in the colors. The blues going to the purples. That is indicating cooler than normal temperature. And then We get the oranges going to the reds, indicating warmer than normal temperatures, and the whites indicate that temperatures are pretty much average in those areas at the, well, based on the time frame that is shown. Now, let's go out in time throughout the week. Here we go. As we head to tomorrow, go into Tuesday, and even towards Wednesday, take a look at this. We see this mass of cooler air which is moving out. So this is going to be impacting Bermuda all the way out here. Nothing new for them. And then, of course, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Cuba, the Cayman Islands, even Jamaica, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands. Not just that, but we've also got some cooler air moving in from the tropical Atlantic. So we'll find out later this week temperatures are a little bit cooler than normal. And as we progress even more, going towards Thursday, Friday, we see this kind of just staying constant in the area, which is personally for me, I love it. And if you're someone who's always outdoors in the sun and you just find the heat to be very annoying, this is some good news for you. But it will be most noticeable in the late evenings and nights and the very early morning hours. So that's what we have in the forecast. And also, I want to show you the rain forecast. Now, this graphic here with the different yellows and oranges, the more vibrant those shadings are, that's indicating more rain expected. So for the most part, it's going to be scattered showers and thunderstorms across sections of the Caribbean and surrounding areas. So for the Bahamas, going to the Turks and Caicos Islands, yeah, just some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some places may not, well, won't get any rain at all. And for Cuba, already seen that it's a bit active in western and eastern sections. It's going to be like that into tomorrow as well. And Cayman Islands, rain chance is going to be pretty limited with just a brief shower possible, nothing crazy. As it relates to Jamaica, our southern parishes will be more favored in terms of any rain to impact the island over the next 24 hours or so. And Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, similar story. Virgin Islands, nothing much. Rain, some showers may pass through, but the rain chance is insignificant. Likewise for much of the Leeward Islands. But as we head from around Guadeloupe, going to Dominica and Martinique, St. Lucia, in this general area here, we're seeing a little bit more color. So as I mentioned earlier as well, those low-level clouds are moving through, and it's likely that they'll continue to impact the area with some additional periods of downpours at times. And then, of course, scattered showers will also be impacting areas such as Trinidad, Tobago, Barbados. And down to northern South America, we are seeing that rain surge already. We see very vibrant shadings here. So rainfall amounts may be up to 2.5, 3 inches, possibly a little bit higher in sections of French Guiana. And then for Suriname and the southernmost part of Guyana, things will likely be quite active as well, with some heavy rain being possible. So if you should encounter any floodwaters, guys, please do not take any unnecessary risks. And then for the ABC Islands, a little bit of color around, so rain chance remains limited. Scattered showers likely throughout Central America. So that's what we're expecting. Nothing that's really out of the norm as we progress into tomorrow. Now, in terms of the hurricane season, this is a graphic here that is showing the frequency of activity typically between May 1st and December. We can see pretty much the entire month of December, and it is based on data collected between 1944 going to 2020. And the red shadings, as it shows here on the key, is for hurricanes and tropical storms. So that's both of them combined, because remember that a hurricane doesn't just spawn out of thin air. It goes through phases: tropical depression, tropical storm, hurricane. And there are many tropical storms that don't manage to become hurricanes. So naturally, every season we have more tropical storms than actual hurricanes. And then the solid yellow, that's just for hurricanes. Now, for the month of May, notice that we start to see colors popping up here. So based on historical data and what we've seen over the past decades, May is that one off-season month, because remember, the season is between June and November. May is the off-season month that has the most occurrences of tropical cyclones developing. So once conditions are just right, we tend to get some brief, short-lived systems that may develop. And one thing of note is that they tend to stay offshore. So they may form from like a frontal system exiting the States, being well offshore the northern Caribbean, offshore the Bahamas. We get that a lot sometimes. It's nothing that's really new, but yeah, there's definitely a chance of preseason activity if conditions are just right. And then the season officially begins on the 1st of June. So as we head through June, July, go into August, we see a spike in activity here, especially mid to late August through September and mid-October. So this is what is regarded as the peak of the hurricane season, when conditions in the tropical Atlantic are most ideal, or normally most ideal, for development. So that's a typical peak of the season. Then as we head to late October through November, and even towards December, things tend to just decrease. And then we go into really get into the off season, January, February, March, April, and then back to May. So this is just a graph that shows that, that's what we tend to observe during the hurricane season. And every hurricane season is different. And even in regards to the peak of the hurricane season, the statistical peak day is September 10th. But many times we've seen where maybe the peak of the season happens earlier or it happens later, where we see a very strong hurricane, a major hurricane, or maybe multiple after or before that specific time. So every season is different, but on average, that's the normal time frame. So just wanted to share that with you, and just let you know what to expect over the course of the next day and later on into the week as that frontal system continues to make its way offshore the state. So that's it for now, guys. I trust and hope you found this update to be informative. If you have any questions, though, as always, you can feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll get to you when I can. And remember to always be weatherwise.